Welcome back, Coach. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here. And again, it's the being able to talk football as a coach. I think you've mentioned it before. We kind of don't know when to shut up sometimes. I could go all morning talking about this, but it's fun because I haven't been in a room with my guys this year, so I'll treat you guys as you guys are my players now.
Nice.
So,
put Lloyd on donuts.
Good thing y'all were on time, so nobody's getting fined today. So we're good. We're good with that.
Why don't you win a game?
So, Coach, what is the air raid?
All right. So first off, I got to tell this story because it's just really random. Like 3 or 4 years ago, he was still at Washington State.
Mike Leach.
Mike Leach was. All right. I'm at the Combine in Indianapolis, and everybody that's ever been to the Combine as a coach or scout knows that there's a lot of hurry up and wait, and then at night is when everything happens. It's like people go out. That's when everybody starts to get together and stuff. So there's a place called Ike and Jonesy's. All right. It was like an 80s themed place, like Madonna, like a Virgin's playing, a little bit of Outfield, Your Love, those kind of things. Or Eddie Money, Take Me Home Tonight, those are kind of in the night with that one.
Adult club.
Yeah. So, so I go in there, I'm sitting at the bar, I'm waiting for some friends to show up, and I just happen to look next to me, and there's Mike Leach sitting there. So, of course.
By himself?
Yeah, he was by himself.
He had his play sheet, a cocktail napkin.
So I sit there and I wait a second, I don't want to be that guy, but I said, hey, Coach, I introduced myself, and I said, hey, I went to A&M. You were at Tech when I was on the team. And he just went in for about an hour on Texas Tech versus A&M and the games that they should have won. They should have won all of them, by the way, and he just went, just like y'all were going in on me, he was just getting after me for like an hour. It was so much fun.
Stared straight ahead.
Oh, it was so much fun, though, because he talks. He's such a
animated,
quirky dude.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, that was a little story. I just thought that was
cool. What's the feeling of him within the coaching fraternity? Like his scheme, though, just his football. I know his personality is phenomenal. I mean, like there should be books and movies on the Pirate, but just his scheme.
The scheme was okay. So the air raid has a few things. I mean, it's very, very simple. All right, you have maybe 3 formations. All right, you have a 2x2 formation, you have a 3x1 formation.
Okay, when you say 2x2, break it down.
Okay, so 2x2 is going to have two receiving threats on each side of the line with a back and a backfield. 3x1 is going to have a single receiver to one side and 3 receivers to the other side with a back and a backfield, and then you'll have an empty formation where the back then goes out and it becomes a 3x2, a 4x1 maybe, but usually a 3x2. The three guys go to the
wide
the field,
side,
to the wide side, and in the boundary side, you have 2 guys. A lot of times you'll have maybe 3 runs. You have inside zone. You'll have some sort of an ISO play and a jet sweep or a draw, and that's it. And these are numbered plays, so like they'll yell the formation or they'll hold those cards up, and they know that based on what card is up, that's the formation. And then the play gets called out. The 2 outside receivers always stay in the same spot. They don't switch sides. All right, so that's how you can play fast. So with those guys staying on the outside, you got your 2 better receivers or tight ends or whoever you got on the team at the time. Those are your 2 inside guys. So they can go inside and they can move around. So they can go to the 3x1 side and be the 2 inside guys over there. 2x2, they got 1 on each side of the quarterback. So those guys are moving around. It lives off the fact that you're going to run a ton of plays and you're going to wear the defense out. You want to wear the defense out because you want to throw the ball deep on them. You're not wearing the defense out because you want to throw shallow crosses and things. Now, that's in there because you got to have that. But once you get them on their heels, take a shot. Mm-hmm. So that's the whole point of the fast. Now, you're going to have some 3 and outs. And that's
turnovers.
Fine. Yeah, you're going to have turnovers. You're going to have incompletions. It's going to happen, but you're going to run so many plays that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And one of the things that you see on any of his teams is they have humongous splits by their offensive linemen as compared to other teams. Well, think about this. So you have a defensive lineman that's always going to line up on the outside shoulder of a guard. And then you have a defensive lineman that's going to always line up on outside the tackle. Well, if you just widen them out a little bit further, they're further away from the quarterback. And the quarterback right now knows with the speed that they're going, defenses aren't going to pressure as much or blitz. They're not going to bring as many crazy looks to them. They're going to play very vanilla because they have to get set up fast. Because if you're on the line running a play, the defense has got to call a play in. And a lot of times when you call an exotic blitz and you've got 6 guys blitzing, that takes time for those guys to have to talk it through. So there's not that time. So you get a lot more vanilla look. That's why in the NFL, if you ever see a team decide to like go up tempo in the middle of the first quarter or something, go watch the defense. The defense goes straight vanilla because they're, okay, we're going to just get set. We're going to play ball.
Get the best out of every play.
Yeah. And really as a guy who was in charge of the blitz pickup for 7 years of my career, if we ran that scheme, it would make it a lot easier. And one of the things I want to get into when we have the film up here in just a second is you have basic concepts. You have 4 verticals, you have a mesh concept, and then you have a what I'm going to call a sail concept. And I'll explain to you why it's called a sail, because when you draw it out and you draw a line back down it, it looks like a sailboat.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. So
let's jump into it.
The last thing I'd say too is screens. So you have your 3 runs, you have your 4 or 5 concepts, and then you have a receiver screen and you have a halfback screen. All right, those are runs. Those are considered in his mind. Any kind of screen is a run.
So anything that's thrown around the line of scrimmage.
Correct. That falls, instead of saying, we're going to have this huge run package, we're going to add some screens into this thing, and that's going to be part of our system for that day. So as we look here, I'm gonna show you guys a few plays here, and I'm gonna try to show you here. So I'm gonna pause this before it gets going. So what they do is the first concept is a 4 vertical concepts. Okay, so when I say a vertical concept, we're saying verticals up and down. So if you're looking at it from the offense's perspective, they're going straight. Vertical is a go route, basically. All right. So what they do is they end up running 4 verticals. So usually in college, it's right outside the hash, down the numbers, so those 2 lines. If you have a third guy right here, he's going to run over and get to that spot, and then this guy's going to be here. All right. They can also tag things to where they can tell this receiver right here to stop. So if they're getting a lot of off coverage, so if this DB right here were to be playing back here and dropping back, they could tell this receiver to run up here and stop. All right. So with that being said, going back to what I was saying about 2x2 and 3x1, let's take this guy, and he's not there. Let's put him here, all right? 4 verts are the same thing. You know what I'm saying? He may have to work his way in there, and then he works here. So, again, that's number 1 because, again, they want to wear you out to throw the ball deep. This is not some sort of passing offense where, hey, listen, I just want to, really – throw the ball where it's open. No, we're trying to throw it deep on you.
They're almost working short to be able to get the deep shot because you want them on. I wouldn't say on their heels, but where
you're
they're having to.
Yeah, everything's setting them up
because you get them in, you get the defense essentially in a basic look, and then that's when you realize what kind of shots you can take off of what they're presenting you, right?
Correct. Yes, because right here, if you look at the way this defense is playing right here, this defense is only rushing 3 guys. When it's all said and done, they got 3 guys rushing. You got this guy here. They're playing a quarters look. Now he's pressed, but he's dropping back. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why it's called a quarters look. But this is really a max look. Anytime we say it's a max drop, usually you got 7 guys dropping. So you have another guy here, another guy here, another guy here. Well, this guy's dropping now. So now you only got 3 dudes rushing. I mean, you got 5 linemen. You should not have a problem.
Right.
Now, when I say that, you shouldn't have a problem. Doesn't mean you're not going to, but. If you look at this from the end zone, now why are they running the back out like this? They do a lot of this kind of stuff because, again, it takes somebody else out of the play. This guy right here is a check down, but he's a decoy.
Yeah,
he's acting like a blocker essentially.
Yeah, so he's right here, and yeah, so right now, these guys here are they're keying in on him, but the second he leaves, you can see this guy just backed out of there right here, and then he's kind of got his eyes there, but he's really picking this guy up. This guy just took somebody out of the play. He just took a rusher out of the play. So that's the reason they do that. The next play that's going to come up is called mesh, all right? And the reason it's called mesh is because you're taking two players and basically you're
shoulder to shoulder.
You're meshing them. Now, one of the ways this thing is taught, and this is the way we taught it in the NFL, was so there's going to be. Let me get this guy motioned over. All right, and I'll show you the play, and then I'll go back and draw it. You can see these two guys kind of running underneath right on the A, and they're trying to. They don't really do a good job, to be honest with you. So this guy's going here. This guy's going here. And it's built for man coverage. All right, it's built for man coverage. Now you have other routes built in, so that's what I'm saying. They can tag these two guys on whatever you want. All right, if it's man coverage, these guys should run. They should be able to low five each other on the way by. That's how close they should be. That's how we taught it. We taught them to run by and they low five each other in practice. Like if they didn't low five each other in practice, they were wrong.
And you've seen it in games sometimes where teams are like, when they get so comfortable doing it, where they're dicing you up, where they're high fiving across the middle of the field.
It becomes a joke,
right?
As they're passing each other.
As they're passing each other, you'll see them like five each other.
Mississippi State could have done that in 2020.
And so what'll happen is now, if it's not man coverage, so if it's man coverage, you're hoping that they pick off the guy.
Right, like they run into each other.
They run into each other.
Yeah.
It's a natural pick. Natural pick.
Yeah.
In the game of football, as coaches, we call it a rub. We don't call it a pick. All right. So just you got to know what to say.
It's a rub route, not a pick
route. It's a rub play. All right. So
picking him.
Coach, he picked him. It's a rub.
They just rubbed.
Yeah.
Rubbing Grayson.
So there's one thing that's supposed to happen if it's not man coverage. So if they run over there and they know, okay, it's not man coverage, it's zone, so there's guys dropping to different zones or whatever the case is. These guys are all dropping to these zones here, and these guys are here. They should stop. Don't keep running. You stop over where the ghost tight end would have been. So they don't have a tight end in their offense. So there's a spot where the tight end would be, and that's where they're supposed to stop. So this guy should run over here and stop there. This guy should run over here and stop here. And then the quarterback can just dump it to him and let him run.
It's essentially trying to find like the soft spot in the zone, right?
Correct. And again, they like right here, if you look at this guy should be sitting right here, and this ball should be popped to him right there. All right. And again, if you look at what they're doing, let me ask you this. All right, anybody in the room, why should they know when this guy motions that this is not man coverage, that this is zone?
Because nobody followed him.
Nobody followed him over.
And that's why they're doing that, right? They want to see you go from 2x2 to 3x1, and you want to see exactly.
You're identifying the coverage, but it's also this is a man zone read for the quarterback. So the quarterback is using that too. The receiver should use that. The receiver should look. Nobody's running with me. So
now I know to sit.
I'm going to sit. I'm still going to run my route like I would have, but I'm still going to sit. So that's a mesh. I'm going to show you. I got a couple of these. Actually, I got three meshes. So and they're all a little bit different. Now, if you watch this one. So you see how they bring this like jet sweep type motion with the receiver on the outside. Well, number one, nobody runs with him,
right?
So it's zone. Number two is you're flooding. When I say you're flooding, you're bringing all these dudes over here. So what that should do is somebody from this back side over here is probably going to have to push this way because all of a sudden all the receiving threats are over here, and this guy's running here. All right, so if you watch what happens, now this guy right here, because this guy had to push over because everybody was running over here, it opened this guy up right here. He ended up throwing it to the wrong guy here, but you see how they both stopped because they both knew it was zone. So that's what the mesh concept is. And again, you can put whatever you want over here. All this stuff over here, like there's your check down. This guy's running guys out of there. So there's ways to get around it. And it's something I mentioned earlier, if you look at the size of their splits on the offensive line, that's not normal. All right. Normally it's about a 2-foot split. I would say that's at least 3 feet. That's at least a yard in between them. And
why does the defenders line up in those gaps?
Because there's a thing called we've always done it this way. And it's,
very football.
And it's gap integrity and
and
all that. But the problem is, let's say my man this is a 3 technique here, and there's a guy in front of number 11 with his hand down, so that's a shade. All right, let's just say my man here moved down in here, and they rushed here, but they had a run called, and then all of a sudden the back hits it over here, and this linebacker should obviously be there, but you're opening up a lot of holes, especially with it being that big of a split. So you just can't. I mean, it's one of those things. There is a gap integrity thing to that, which when I say gap integrity, I'm saying that, these guys are running a twist game up here, but like he has that gap. So if anything goes in that gap, he's stunting into that gap. He's got that gap, so everybody's got a gap. Now in the NFL, I'll tell you this much, college almost too, gap integrity and gap sound is not a thing anymore. I mean, there's defensive coordinators that are just doing whatever they want to do, and they're not worried. If they beat us on a run, they beat us on a run. Now, if you look here,
like if I'm LSU, do I put Savion Jones in one of those gaps and just say, put your hand in the dirt, and as soon as that ball moves, go kill the quarterback?
Yeah, and I think that's what you probably want to get your better rushers this week on the interior, because these guys out here are so far away from the quarterback right now that they're going to have a hard time getting there as quickly as he gets the ball out. So if you want to put, like if you had Mason Smith still, I mean, I know, unfortunately, sure. But if you had him playing that position right here, that would help out a ton, because he could do all kinds of But again, that obviously in the issue right now. But so here's a look at this is 3-by-1 like we were talking about. All right, now they're motioning here to 2-by-2. Again, nobody runs with them. I tried my hardest in this last game to find a man coverage one. Arizona had the right idea. They know they run this play. So why
even fool with
why
man?
Screw yourself on it? Why put yourself in an advantage just by calling it? That's why I tell people all the time. They're like, a coach wants to put a certain protection in. That's not good this week. Yeah. I mean, we can coach it, we can get ready, but you're taking a chance. Why not just take it out? Don't even run it. Don't even run that protection this week. Or a defense, like don't run a lot of man this week.
But this is what we do.
It's just
Yeah, that's how coaches are hard headed, and they're like, well, this is it's a staple of our defense. It's like you kind of have to be malleable with what the offense is doing. At some point, there's give and take.
So when they get to 2-by-2 here again, here's 85 now. What's at 85 is Austin Williams. All right, the kid had 2 touchdowns in this game. The other kid, I believe he's number 4, there's another receiver in there, but those are 2 inside guys. So he goes in motion. So obviously this is one of their better players. Well, here comes this guy I tell you always stays on this side. Now he's running the mesh route here. All right. Again, they know it's zone. So look, they both sit. Now this isn't a great throw by Will Rogers, but I think if you look at what the quarterback's trying to do, why do you think the quarterback threw it right there? We can actually see it from the end zone better. So as this guy's running across and he sits, why do you think the quarterback threw it where he threw it?
He's throwing him away from the linebacker.
Exactly. This guy over here is already this guy's taken out. He's covering that other receiver. You're not trying to get your dude killed. All right. There's a thing we always told in Cincinnati. They had a really good children's hospital, so we used to tell them, you're getting yourself sent to Children's Hospital. Or you're going to Christ
body
Hospital,
bag ball.
Or, we always came up with you're going to Ochsner here in town or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You'll be at Our Lady of the Lake, but you just better watch yourself. So but that's why he's doing that. So when you see this looks a little goofy, but I mean I think he could have put it on him a little better. But again, if you look at what he's doing, I mean look at the protection. Again. Count the number of blue shirts that are rushing. 1, 2, 3.
It's a great way to neutralize LSU's what you would think is one of their strengths with the defensive line and the pass rush.
Yeah.
If you can only bring 3, you're not going to be able to get home very often, so you have to stay disciplined on the back end, which is why I think the matchup with Mississippi State is worrisome for some, because it almost neutralizes LSU's biggest strength on the defensive side.
Yeah. But are you saying that this is really branded towards Mike Leach?
Yes.
I mean, so then if you're breaking this down and you can understand every play that he's doing, why isn't every other team doing this and winning the game?
Because, like we mentioned a minute ago, coaches have philosophies, and a lot of times coaches may not understand this. This is.
But you do, and you can sit here and break it down and make me understand it.
I'm
good at what he does.
I'm good at what I do. There's zero doubt on that one. But no, I've also coached in different schemes too.
Yeah.
So I've coached in a version of this. I haven't coached in this exact version of Mississippi State, Texas Tech, Washington State kind of stuff. But I have coached in a spread offense, and it again it translates to what I'm seeing here. So I agree. Well, I'll say this. Go watch except for John Curtis, go watch almost every high school, and they're running a style of this offense right now because it's easy. Mm-hmm. It's easy to put in. You only got to know about 5 or 6 plays, and the run game's easy. You don't have to teach. I've with Jordy's son. I've worked with him over with his team on the offensive line and worked with them, and it's one of those things where certain kids just don't. They got so much going on anyway. Mm-hmm. If you're a professional, or if you're in college, you get whatever you want. You're an adult. Yeah. But a high school kids. So that's why a lot of these guys are running this. So, all right. So the next, I'll move on to the next. So that was mesh. So you've got 4 verts, you've got mesh. Now here's the next one that's going to come up. And the reason I said it was called a sail is I want you to look at, there's 3 receiving threats to the top. I know this is 2x2, but the third receiving threat's this back. All right. So in all reality, a lot of guys will run this guy on a flat. They're going to run this number 2 guy like this, and this number 1 guy runs like this. All right. So somehow or another, that became known as
a sailboat,
a sail route, because it looks like a sail.
That's really weird.
Y'all get that? We good here?
Any questions? Any questions?
So if anybody ever says, "Hey, that's a sail concept,"
so coach, I got the sail route, or do I have to clear out?
Yeah.
Now I'll take this.
Every time I got to explain to Stewie about the goddamn sail route.
Let me drop for you again, Stewie. Here, stem, ball, flag. Here you go. That's your boat.
I'm gonna blow your mind on this one too. Now I want you to watch this guy right here. So this guy. So he started here. So he's gonna do this, and he's gonna run this route. What do you think that route is called in general terms?
Hook.
L.
Out.
It could be getting out. Yeah. It's usually called a bench. You know why it's called a bench?
You're running
Because you're running towards the bench. Y'all think coaches are coming up with stuff, man? We're just talking. We're just making up stuff. So, but this is the sail route. So
let's call it bench.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right.
If you don't know it, that's where you're gonna be sitting.
Yeah, right.
So
Caskey says call it bench. Let's call it bench.
So down here on the bottom, again, they'll tag something down here on the bottom, or there'll be something already built into that week. Okay, we're going to call whatever they're called their sail route over here, or their 3 level. Sometimes you'll hear like Urban Meyer in Jacksonville always said, give me the 3 level, give me the 3 level. He never called it a sail. He said, give me the 3 level, because you got your flat control over here, which whoever this defender is in this area, this guy's running out here to try to keep him there. Now you notice he threw to the back because nobody went there. They all fell back. So they covered this guy that was running deep. He's a clear out guy. Mm-hmm. This guy's just, when I say clearing out, he's taking somebody with him. He's trying to get those guys out of there. He wants to just X those dudes out. This guy that's running this route is hoping that this guy plays up. I know there's a lot of crap going on right there.
I'm
sorry.
like, wait. It's too much red.
Yeah, so, this guy right here that's running out here, he's hoping this guy played up and stayed up there. He never dropped back. If this guy right here would have stayed up here, he would have thrown the ball here to this guy that's running here. But since everybody's back here, he threw it underneath.
It becomes a de facto run play.
Yeah, in all reality. And really, if this guy keeps his feet, and it's a decent throw, he kind of threw it behind him a little bit. But you talk about being able to catch and run, and you got your running back in space. You want that, And so that's the sail concept. And then if you look here, the next play I got is a sail route also, and it's this is one that actually they brought some pressure on, which is kind of interesting to see, because you don't see a whole lot of pressure versus these guys. And you can see when I say pressure, I'm saying they're bringing somebody that's not on the line of scrimmage. That's what I consider pressure. So something that would actually have to be thought through by the line and the backs. You know what I mean? That's if it's just the dudes on the line,
we can pick that up.
We can pick that up. It's good. But anytime somebody else is coming, and then if there's 5 people, usually we would call it a blitz. Depending on what it was. Pressure sometimes can just be 4, but it's somebody else. Anyway, that's a whole nother teaching segment.
Kicker's like, oh my God.
I am so into this. Like, my heart is so full.
So if I want you to watch this about Will Rogers. I'm going to show it from the back. All right, they're running the same concept. Really, 23 gets out really late, but 23's out. There's a guy doing this, and there's a guy doing this over here. Okay, there's sail route that we just talked about. All right, but I want you to watch his eyes. See, you can see how he's actually looking over here first. Something told him with the coverage to look over there first. All right. And then he calmly takes his drop, he shuffles his feet, and he gets his eyes back here. All right, so my point of this is he's not affected by anything. Does that make sense? He's just dropping back, and he's playing ball. And I mean, really, in all reality, I mean, again, you end up having only four guys because this guy dropped. You really got only 4 guys rushing even though it's a pressure or a blitz. But you can see he goes through his progression, and it's really good by him as you watch it from the sideline, because he gets back, and then here's this guy right here running the same route you just saw. He breaks it off a little bit flatter, and the reason that he's going to break it off a little flatter here is he does have this isn't man here. Okay, this is more of a carry type of thing. Okay, so there's certain zone concepts, especially when you got a blitz on, where you're losing a coverage defender. So he has to play man because there's nobody else to cover if he runs vertical, or so if he just kept on running here, he's got to run with him. So he knew that, and again, that's a course for another day. But you can see right here, he had enough presence to, hey, I'm gonna hang in there, and then got the ball to him. And I mean, what was that, a 20-yard gain?
Yeah.
So, and the reason he's able to get that wide open, I'd imagine, is because they're so worried about the mesh. You run mesh, and then you boom, turn it the other way, because he had his numbers with him. And as soon as he puts his foot in the ground, he's lost because he's in man, and he's thinking, well, I'm just going to run with him across the field. But he boom, puts his foot in the ground, runs bench.
Correct.
20 yards.
And also I could not find a good one in here. I think there's one at the very end, but it's called a mid cross, and it means they're kind of going roughly like 18 to 20 yards deep across the field like this. And that is another one. So he may have thought that they were running that, and on film, who knows how many times they practiced that during the week with Arizona. And so he's running this, so he's like, crap, I gotta either carry him on I gotta carry him on the mesh route, or I gotta carry him here, and then all of a sudden and he comes out of it, So that's a big deal. We also look at that. I know in the NFL there's a lot of carried coverage, kind of man type seam coverages where they're run those anything in between the numbers and the hash in the NFL. There's a lot of kind of one-on-one coverages in there, even in zones, just to protect that area. And we get a lot of that, and we'll run some of those things like that too. So now I mentioned earlier your run game, but here's a screen. Yeah. All right. All this is a long handoff. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. All right. Just pretend Will Rogers has 30-yard long arm. Yeah, go gadget arms. All he's doing is handing that ball off to number 4. And they're getting block, and then you're running away from all these dudes. So you'll hear. I even heard this on your son's team the other day when I was out there. The guy caught a screen, and then he decided to run inside.
Easy over there. Easy. I got St. Aloysius and St. George parents listening, for God's sakes. I'm not trying to give my ace away just yet. So go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
So anyway, but point being is why
I'm going to
ask you this. Why would you want to run outside right now?
I don't know.
It's a simple answer. It's just like the bench route. I mean, it's a simple
answer.
Away
from the clutter.
You see all these dudes right here? See all these dudes?
The bad guys
they're all running from over here, and they're not blocked.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
That's why we're getting it out here. We're getting it out here to block this guy on his outside shoulder, block this guy on his outside shoulder, and get this guy to run, get around him, and then have to take him on by himself.
Is this a bench route, or is this something?
No, I was just saying it's as easy as a bench. It's as easy as an explanation.
But the whole concept, it seems like, for Leach, is to get people one-on-one.
Exactly. And it's to get people in space and create the one-on-one matchups, or, again, hit you deep at some point. Now, what they'll end up doing off of this one, which is pretty cool, I didn't see it in this game, but this guy will step back like this, like they just threw it to him. He'll come over here like he's blocking. He'll come over here like he's blocking. And then they'll take off.
Yeah.
So, and then these two guys are flying up here, and there's guys wide open. And that was
So it's a lot of fake outs.
There are a lot of fake outs.
Everything's setting you up.
Yeah.
He's setting up for
He's keeping you thinking.
Yeah.
Like last time he did this, I had to be here.
Everything's built off of something else.
He's got something else that's hitting you over the back.
And then one other thing you can look at here, and again, I'm not exactly sure because I haven't studied them enough, but this was probably a run call with a screen over there tagged to those receivers. Because if you watch everybody up front, they're run blocking. That runner is going through the mesh with the quarterback. Quarterback just stepped back and said, you know what, I got numbers out here. I got my dudes out here, and shoot, we got guys. Actually he'd be here. I'm throwing it out here. I'm not going to run into all these dudes.
They could have got good yardage on the run play too.
Oh, no doubt. As a running back coach, I'm going to tell you the one thing I had to do is I had to console my running backs every Monday morning because the quarterback would throw some, quick
6-7
thing or
yard
something,
screen.
That's my carry. That's my money.
And he's like, I mean, there's a massive hole. And then of course, the quarterback's like, well, there's only that hole there because I threw it outside.
This is fun.
So,
but when you get to what LSU has, I guess when you look at the Florida State game and where they were kind of deficient was on third down, what do you think that they're going to see or defensively that they prepare, or Mississippi State's going to do on offense on third down, third and medium that they have to prepare for? Because a lot of the times that they got hit was over the middle of the field.
Yeah, I mean, it probably the mesh routes.
Yeah,
I would say that the mesh routes are kind of a big deal when it comes to third downs because a lot of teams want to play man on that. Now, if you look here, like this next play is a 3rd and 1, and look at what they do here. So this is what we would call yo-yo. I have no idea why. This originated kind of with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, and anytime. This is probably another run on 3rd and 1. So they're running the run play here. All right. But what they're going to do is they signal something out here. They called it to the 3 guys over here. All right. And what'll happen is you see how far this guy's off and how far this guy's off. And then this guy right here is just, he's locked. He's really locked on this guy.
and we just need one.
So what they're going to do, he knows he has man coverage right here. So he's actually just going to, the best block versus a man coverage defender as a receiver is to run him off.
Yeah.
Because what's a
turns
man,
his back on him.
Watch this guy. See how he turns his back down
Yeah.
there? He turns his back. He's not looking at what's going on.
Right.
Run him off.
Yeah.
I've seen guys running down the field, and guys are chasing them, and the ball is running right behind them.
Remember Brad Wing's fake punt against Florida?
Right.
That's exactly what they're doing.
They're running down on kick to go. Yeah.
He's running, and Brad Wing's just running right behind him.
So what they're doing here is they're taking this number 3 guys. So you got 1, 2, 3. You always count from the outside in. So if you ever hear somebody say the number 1 receiver, unless they're talking like,
Jamar Chase.
This guy's my number 1. No, if they're actually talking in the formation, the number 1 receiver on the left there, they're saying the outermost. All right, and they work their way in. All right, so one's going to run him off or basically block him. So he's done. He's going to come here. He's going to block his outside shoulder again. When I say outside shoulder, I mean towards the sideline. He's going to turn and run right down the line of scrimmage. Usually in college, you want to try to throw this thing on the line of scrimmage or behind because you can block however far you can block downfield.
Right.
In the NFL, you can't block until the ball is thrown. So really, I think it's technically till it's caught, but it
Take some liberties there.
flurries.
yeah. So, but point being is like this guy's just going to go block this dude. This guy's going to run here. This is 3rd and 1. All right. Now, this drives me nuts. Okay, so the ball is on the 44-yard line. They got to get to the 45. All right. Watch him catch this ball, and it's 3rd and 1. Bro, go.
Get upfield.
Go.
Get upfield.
Just get the first down. Don't worry. Yeah, this guy's probably going to tackle this. That's fine. All right, but look, I mean,
Whiffs on the tackle.
but they get 7 yards. They get 7 yards on a dink and dunk play like that on 3rd and 1, and that's what this is. That was a run play. That you would take 7 yards on a run play all day,
Absolutely.
right? Wouldn't y'all take 7
Sure,
yards if you
all
handed the
day.
ball off? Take
All
7
day.
yards all
All
day.
day.
So again, that's the screens. Now this is one thing I thought I found this play, and this play doesn't really fit in kind of really to any certain category, but this is more of they're running it's called a double post up here. Now, why is that route called a post?
I don't know why.
You run into the.
Because there's a
Where's he
goal
going
post.
to?
There's a
The
goal
goal.
post up there, so you're running
That's it.
towards
That's why
the
they call it
goal
that.
post. Yeah.
Coaches, huh?
I mean, yeah.
So,
Don't overthink it.
They're not overthinking it. I'm overthinking it.
so right here, I thought this was good by Will Rogers. He sees all this off coverage over here. All right, and again, I don't know what down this is. I need to see what down this is.
That smash at the bottom?
It looks like a smash concept, but it's crazy because you wouldn't think that you'd be able to just get it off that quickly, but he saw it. So right here, this guy's playing off, so he's hitching, he's running the corner. It's not a big thing in their offense, but he sees that
Stealing.
and shoot, look at that. There's 10 yards in between those guys. So by the time he catches the ball, boom. I mean, he catches it. Now this guy does a good job. All right. This is called, split. You split two defenders, C2 split 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you see 2, split 2. Now you got this dude standing here. Now it becomes, do your thing. Now watch this kid, man. That's a heck of a run, man. I'm about to get into their running back here in a minute, and this dude's a load now.
The running back?
Yeah. So again, You can see here now. Now look, they got 5 guys on the line of scrimmage. All right, but they're only rushing 4 of them. You know, this guy. So point being is it just it makes it easy on the quarterback to where he's not really
especially when you have somebody like Will Rogers that's now comfortable in the system. He knows where all the checks are. He knows when people are going to stop. They've all run it together now for this is his 3rd year at Mississippi State, and it's been like it gets to the point where it becomes secondhand nature, where they know when to stop, where to sit, when to throw short. Like that's what makes this offense tick, is being able to be like almost fluent in it.
We watched this one yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, now this play right here. I'm gonna ask you. Okay, is this man or zone?
Remember what you learned.
See that guy ran with him?
Yeah.
So
wait, that's man, right?
There we go.
So you got to look at that and say, now there are some times where it does, but if you watch it this enough, you can tell that's going to be man coverage. Okay. So now the other thing that's different about this is there's a thing called you have cover 3, which you have 3 safeties or 3 DBs playing the deep thirds. All right. So if it was broken into thirds, all right, you've got cover 2, which you've got 2 guys deep, and they're playing the halves. One guy's got one half, one guy's got the other, and you have cover 1, which is man, and you have 1 deep safety who's just a safety valve for everybody else underneath. This right here is called cover 0. Why is it called cover 0?
Well, there's nobody back there.
There you go. There is no safety back there. So that doesn't mean it's an all-out blitz. Doesn't always mean that. All right, NFL down here, there's a lot of times they have cover 0, but then these guys on the outside drop back and like kind of spy and play like a thief or a robber. You know, they play that. So what they're doing here, Will Rogers sees, man, this is cover 0. First off, I got to get the ball out quickly because I don't have enough blockers up front. Okay, because they're going to end up bringing 7 guys. They're going to bring 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. He's covering him. He's covering him. He's covering him. He's covering him. And then what they're going to do on the back, because y'all are going to go, well, who's covering the back? If the back were to run out here, one of these 2 guys is called a peel. So he's going to peel. He peels out of his, kind of like if you're peeling out in a parking lot. Yeah. You peel out and go cover him up. You know,
supposed to peel off.
So right here, if you watch 85 down here, he has off coverage, and this guy's actually, it's hard to tell from here, but he's outside leverage. All right, I mean he's at least head up, and I guarantee you he's looking at 85 and going, he's going to beat him all day. And ding.
Easy.
I mean, it's simple.
That's stealing.
But here's the thing. He got the ball off quickly because he knew that. And if you watch the protection up here, the protection's just as simple as it can be. There's your guys
hat on a hat.
There's your guys all packing down in the A gaps there.
Actually, it's 6.
But look, yeah, because that guy peeled off, you know. So see 48 peeled on 23 when he ran out. But if you watch all these guys are doing, this is just called full slide. They probably have a call, I don't know what it would be, like Lee. They got Lee, and they all know we got our left gap to our left. Ray, you got your gap to your right. So in this case, this would be like a Lee. And then he knows I got to beat that guy with the ball because he ain't blocked, you know. And if the back was in there, if the 23 stayed, he would block him, and then this guy would add on, and you'd have to beat him with the ball. All right, so that's what when we say beat him with the ball, quarterback's blocking him with the throw. He gets the ball out quickly to get rid of the ball. So going to the next look, and again, I'm a couple of these are redundant kind of when you look at the coverage, but again, here's another cover 0 type look. All right, and again they're bringing 6. There's 2, 4, 6. Those 6 end up coming. This guy has the back. All right. He's here. All right, now watch what they do here. This, again, is called a rub route. This is not a pick route, all right? So here's what you teach these inside guys, and like this guy right here, he knows right now I'm probably not getting the ball. But my job is to basically run my route through these guys. I'm going to run my route through these guys.
So we got to switch that.
All right, now, is it a penalty if he blocks them? Yes. Okay, but what he's doing is he's running a route. He never actually uses his hands to block or anything like that. He's got to keep running. He's got to make it look like he's running a route. So That's what they do here. And then he just kind of hesitates, and then bam, he runs underneath. So you see how he kind of 85 just kind of like he just kind of casually comes off the ball, and then he sees, okay, he got him. Boom. So
just like it's essentially a clear out.
Yeah.
Because you're just trying to create a little bit of conflict to where, all right, if I stutter and go, I'm open.
It's a slightly different version of a mesh route.
Yeah.
You know? And
all right, Coach, show me one run concept.
I got next play here. Actually, you know, I'll skip this one. But sometimes you get really lucky. He had a really lucky pass right here. I'm just saying, sometimes you get lucky. You know, you talk about running so many plays that, you know, you can take chances sometimes because let me go to the next play here. All right, so here's a run. So this is oh no, I'm sorry. I was saying right here. This is the only time he actually Will Rogers pulled the ball down and ran.
And he could do that so much more often, right? Like that's where Burrow kind of, I know it wasn't the air raid, but that's where Burrow kind of made his hay some games whenever he saw so many different exotic looks. He's like, they're not accounting for one person, it's me.
So he saw right here how deep everybody was falling out of there.
Let me take off. And
he's like, if you look up here, it's second down, but it's second and like 5 up here, second and 4. And he's just like, screw this. Now watch. That's a true throwing quarterback.
Yep. Where's the sideline?
I'm getting out of bounds. I'm
not making a
true
move.
Throwing quarterback. Right
but
there.
I'm sure as a coach you love that.
Yeah, well, depending on the situation, you know. In the NFL, when your quarterback makes $20 million, yes, absolutely love it. All right, I got 2 runs here. All right, the first one, this is just your normal, what you would call one back power. Now it's a little bit different because they don't have an inline tight end. They don't have any extra help out here. All right, so what they've done is they've taken this guy out of the box, the tackle box. So that little area right there is the tackle box. So they're not worried about him. So how many offensive linemen we got?
5. I mean, they're not worried about it. Why aren't they worried about him?
Well, I'll
explain. It's too far out to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many offensive linemen they got though?
Right now.
How many offensive? You got 5, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if you look at their run game here, this is another thing. He could probably throw out here somewhere if he wanted to, but he looks here and he says, "I got 5 guys in the box. This guy's out in coverage. All right, we're running the ball over here, over to the left. Inside. So you have numbers. You have enough guys to block their guys inside. So what they're doing is he's saying, okay, you know what? We're gonna run our run play, and there it goes.
Boom.
Now I want you to watch this kid from the end zone. You know, you don't have to worry about the scheme because LSU's going to set up their fronts differently than Arizona. But you know, but if you just watch the way this kid runs, I mean, he doesn't. I mean, look at this. He's not going down.
He didn't go down.
And the good thing about when you're watching this, like as an NFL running back coach, and you see this kid do this, I don't know exactly how much this kid weighs, but he looks like he's big. He's got thick legs. That's impressive because you know right there. You can do something with that as a runner. And the other thing is now he's got the ball in the incorrect arm. He should have it in his left arm.
Outside arm.
Why?
Look right here. Look right here. So the ball's in this arm on this side, right? Look where everybody's coming from. All right, for 2 reasons. You don't want to be hit. You don't want them to hit the ball. But also, we always taught if he's got the ball in his left arm right here, he can use his right arm as a weapon. He can stiff arm. He can swat. You know, and it's not you're not just running here trying to
you're not
protect
a sling.
The ball. Yeah, so you can actually, if you get the ball in your left arm, you've got something to fight. Derrick Henry's the best at it. Well, watch Derrick Henry takes people every game and throws them in the dirt. Now he's got like 40-inch arms, so he can do that. But you know, but I liked it after watching this one game. If I was scouting this kid, I don't know where he's going to go or what his deal is in the draft because I haven't obviously had to do that this year, but. I'd say that kid's got a chance. Now here's the net. Now this is the last play I got. All right, so if you watch, this is 23 right here. All right, that just ran the ball.
No, same guy, yeah.
All right, now they're going to ask him to go block. All right, now this is a good old ISO play, all right? And we call this ISO because he's actually he's isolated. His block is isolated on a linebacker. Now his linebacker, the guy he was blocking, I'm assuming is this guy because he's looking at him, but he runs out of the picture. Now watch what happens. He just keeps going.
Boom.
He's not ISOing a safety. I can promise you that. This guy is not meant
the first guy in his
to
face.
block him. But his awareness of the fact that, shoot, my guy just ran himself out of the play.
Let me go find some work.
I'm just gonna keep going. I'm not gonna go chase this dude way over here. I'm gonna go hit this dude that's about to make the tackle. So they have these plays where it's, you know, one back runs. Now they got both backs in there. All right. Now if you look at this too, and again I'll make this point on this play just one more time. It's 3rd and 3. All right. So on 3rd and 3, normally that's a passing down. All right. So it's 3rd and 3. This is usually a protection formation. When I say that, you're putting them in there to help block while you throw something. All right. Now, with them, they decided to run it, and that was good. You know what I'm saying? So you can catch guys off guard with that. So
is this their formula, like max protect?
Yeah, if they needed it.
Right.
I don't think they ever need it. And again, look at their splits. Their splits didn't change. You know what I mean? It's amazing to me that, you know, my man here, the right guard right here,
he's a mauler.
Watch how far he's got to go to get on this block. You know, and he got him hooked. Now he got help from the center. I get it, but still, that's a long way to go.
Yeah.
So, but that's the air raid in a nutshell. And from what I've you know, looked at on the Arizona game,
I mean, I feel like I need a cigarette.
I learned so much.
All right, I mean, I did, but just the fact that we're sitting here breaking down Mississippi State, like, this week sucks for me usually, but this was great.
I forget that. Yeah, that was like good for you. You're like, oh yeah, how is LSU going to stop this? This is my offense.
Yeah.
Well, with being a Mississippi State fan, I mean, it's like anything else. It's probably going so fast when you're watching it out there.
Yes.
That it's hard to really say, oh, that's what they're seeing. You know, that's what they're doing. But again, they're going fast because they don't have a lot to think about out there.
Yeah.
And that's
which is a beautiful thing.
Oh, it's great for those players. It's great for the quarterback. Number one, the quarterback. That's where, okay, look at the teams around the nation in college or even the pros, and sometimes you say, why are they running? That quarterback can't do that. You know, if you have a throwing quarterback and you're trying to run read zone options and stuff like that, why are you doing that with this kid? Let him throw. Or if you have a running quarterback and you're trying to force him to drop back every time and he just can't get it right, you know, let him run a little bit. Let him, because the more those guys run, the more they'll loosen up. The more they'll be able to throw better, and the more
the game starts opening up a little bit more.
Yeah, it slows down for them. And so when we say, like, we always told the guys, we want the game to slow down for you. And what that means is you're seeing it so well that it's actually everything in your mind isn't going crazy. And you're seeing it from a slow, it's slowed down. It's like you're watching it in slow motion now. Like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, all those guys. I mean, even Mahomes, all these guys now. I mean, you see them making checks and things, and like, man, how did? Because he saw it coming. I mean, it just he's seen it so many times that it was second nature to him. So, but hopefully that was helpful.
That was very helpful. That was very cool. We're going to do more of that. Coach has access to some NFL film as well. We'll talk and dive into the Saints at some point before the weekend and start to look at Brady and the Bucks as well. We will definitely be back doing some of this stuff. That was cool, man. And it's very easy to do on.
Well, you can tell he's
not
taught
just
it.
that part, but just the visual of bringing it to the audience was cool as far as the being able to telestrate it. So Caskey's Clicker, a huge success here on day one. We will definitely revisit that before the weekend. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. As always, brought to you by Go Chevrolet. We'll reset the set. Ronnie Rance will be in here. We'll talk to Wendell Davis. We will talk more about the matchup of LSU Mississippi State. We'll focus in on the weekend, and we'll be back with more here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Ready break.